Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back. I feel like I can finally breathe. We're back on Alive. Guys, these are my favorite. We're back to recap 90 Day Fiancé the other way because it's finally back. We're back for midseason and this is a big week. It's not only a big week for TLC because we get 2 shows this week, but also I'm packing, I'm moving, I have a lot going on. This is a lot. Okay, so with that being said, I appreciate all of you guys kind of being a part of this with me and sticking with me. Check out my schedule on the community tab. And if you haven't already, please like this video. It helps tremendously and it helps us get a lot of eyes on the video. That way we have a lot of people in the chat room. Thanks, guys. Morning, morning, morning. All right. So with the other way being back, I was so excited because we just got done going through Happily Ever After. Now, as much as I love Angela, Deem, and so many of those other castmates, and some I don't, I do love The Other Way. So it's kind of a breath of fresh air to break up the monotony, and we have something new. Well, kind of new. Now, watching this, it brought me right back into the storylines, and I was kind of cringing a little bit. I was like, ugh. Thank you, Muriel. I appreciate you. I was kind of cringing a little bit because Brittany and Yazan's storyline couldn't be more fake, but we'll jump into that. I'm going to drop the link so we can have callers, guys, because I want this to be more of a discussion, as I already did a live pre-recorded recap. So yeah, we're gonna start with Brittany and Yazan only because I think that their storyline is fake. Let's start there. Brittany coming to Chicago, not knowing that her marriage wasn't, or her divorce wasn't going to be granted. Now, what I'm confused about is, did she file the paperwork wrong, or did they mess up at the courthouse? Because I'm hearing 2 separate things. What Brittany's giving us on TLC is that the system somehow messed up. But what I'm hearing in the blogs is that she filed the paperwork incorrectly. Now, if that's in fact true, was she using this whole thing as a storyline, which I think Jamal has said this, using this whole thing as a storyline to get onto TLC, kind of to jumpstart her other career? Who knows? I think a lot of people, we've seen Soulja Boy do it. We've seen other people do it. So it's not unheard of, right? The only problem is we see in the preview, Yazan's family, they're harsh. And they said the one, he's like, I will be his murderer. This is insane, and I don't know if Brittany necessarily knows what culture she's playing with. As we all know, Yazan's from Jordan, and for him, in order for this to work, Brittany really needs to start succumbing to the whole Muslim culture. And if she doesn't, it's just simply not going to work for them as a couple in Jordan. We see that. And we see the black eye. We are trying to figure out what exactly is going on. But with that being said, I'm kind of getting Darcy and Stacey vibes here where I'm not really excited about it anymore. Only because when you start feeling like it's a little pre-produced, no one's really feeling it. I want to bring up a caller real quick for each couple. Guys, if you want to, I dropped the link. Go ahead and start calling in. I'm going to start with Lizzie, and then we're going to move on to Jenny and Sumit. Hi, Lizzie.
Hey,
how are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
Good.
So
do you have another screen open?
No, I don't. That's weird.
Is it still? Oh, it's not echoing anymore. Are you there? Guys, while Lizzie figures out her mic, or she'll be calling back in, I'm sure. 110 in the room. Let's move on to Jenny and Sumit, and everyone hit that like button. So Jenny and Sumit, I think we're all fed up with Jenny because Jenny is expecting the parents to accept her in. Now, up to this whole point, we were like, why can't they just like Jenny, even though she's a little bit older? It's okay. It's not the end of the world, you know? It's not the end of the world. 1 second, guys. I have a cat that could possibly knock over my modem, and I'm moving, and there's no way that I'm not going to be on this live. Guys, I have a crazy cat, so I have to keep her in this little straitjacket while I'm doing this live because she knocks over my modem, and that's not going to happen today. But for Jenny and Sumit, say hi, Mayday. For Jenny and Sumit, I think that it's not going to work. We found out that Jenny was living in the house with the parents, and she was acting like she was friends with the parents while sleeping in the same bed as Sumit. Now, obviously, that's a problem because They were trusting her to be like a motherly figure, not to jump in the bed with him. Now, I'm not saying anything's wrong and anyone can fall in love, right? But now what Ginny is wanting is for them to accept her. But when they feel kind of frauded or betrayed, how do you really expect them to accept you? And up until this point, when Sumit was lying about everything, I was totally team Ginny. But now that I know this third party kind of input from Sumit's family, I'm kind of team Sumit's family.
Okay.
Hi, G. Oh. Okay, guys. Here, let me drop this. But the parents are not willing to accept Ginny because 1, she's too old. 2, she's not going to give them grandchildren. 3, this is a total betrayal. And I'm sure they would prefer an Indian woman. And that's obviously not the case right now. So sorry, Ginny. When we see Ginny flip out and she's like, why can't they just get over it? Not verbatim, but you see Sumit's friend's family like, what? Like, you don't understand. This is our culture. And I think at this point, Ginny doesn't understand. Almost kind of the same way Kenny's having a hard time understanding Armando's family. When I say that, I'm talking about Armando's dad. So let's move on. When I'm talking about Armando and Kenny, this is obviously the fan favorite couple for 90 Day Fiancé The Other Way. Everybody's really rooting for this storyline because they feel like it's the most authentic storyline. Now, yes, I feel like it's definitely authentic, and Armando's no actor. You can tell he's totally genuine, and Kenneth can't fake being. You can't fake that. I'm kind of invested into it too. You see Armando and Kenny, they got engaged, and Armando was so happy because once they got engaged, Kenny's whole family was there. He felt the love. He felt what it feels like to be accepted when you're gay into the family. And now what he's afraid of is that his family's not going to treat Kenny the same. Well, they were pretty much open. They all sat around the campfire, and his daughter Hannah was excited to see him. I don't think the dad was as happy. I think it's already a big step accepting the fact that your son is, it's for him and his culture. I've been through it, but it was a big step for him accepting the fact that his son is gay. Now he has to, I'm not letting you go. Accepting the fact that his son is gay, and then also and then also meeting this man, and then finding out that he has a fiance and knowing that his granddaughter is going to live there. I don't know, guys. I think this is a lot. Let's bring Lizzie back and see if the mic is working. Hi, Lizzie.
Hey, sorry. Is the mic working now?
Yes, it works perfect. All right. So Brittany and Yazan, Ginny and Sumit, or Kenny and Armando?
Let's talk about Brittany and Yazan. I heard earlier this morning that Sarcasm found a document for when she filed her. And it looks like she filed it on the 19th of September, and then it got approved sometime in February. So I don't even think that she had to be filed because I think it was filmed around that time or afterwards, not that. So that was fake for drama. I think she was second guessing it and it's for clout.
Lacey, we're getting a little bit of flack from your mic. I'm sorry.
Oh no. Oh no. Can you hear now?
Yeah, it's a little bit better.
Found that.
We'll bring Lizzie back up. I think it's just getting a little bit flack. Let's try Dana. Hi, Dana.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you? Did you watch The Other Way?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, so we just talked about the first 3 couples. We're about to get to the other 2. But just to remind you, we have Ginny and Sumit, Brittany and Yazan, and Kenny and Armando. And I really didn't even finish with Kenny and Armando, but which one do you want to start with?
I want to start with Kenny and Armando.
Okay.
Because I was really feeling for Armando because in so many ways it was still part of his coming out to his family. And I know that it was a big deal for his mom. She loves and was embracing her son. And even his dad, that was a big deal for his dad to come out. And I feel like Kenny was a little impatient.
Yeah, and I think that it's kind of insane too because there's an age difference, a big age difference, and you're kind of expecting the older one to be a little bit more mature. But, or at least I think that would just be the general idea, right? But
yeah.
Kenny's not acting that way. When they're sitting there doing the, let's call it a confessional or interview, and they're talking about it, Kenny's kind of like, well, your dad wasn't very welcoming. And Armando's like, dude, you don't get it. You're lucky my dad even opened the door.
Yeah, he's very lucky.
Wow, I wasn't looking at the computer. I love that. My mom stole mine. I have a Yeti cup. I have to get a new one. Thanks, Dana. Thank you for supporting.
Oh, no worries. I had to have it, so I wondered how long it would take for you to notice.
I'm looking at the camera and the computer's down here. I get my new studio in a week, and I'm so excited. My whole setup's going to be different.
But anyway, and plus the fact that Kenny's older, he's already been through it a long while ago, and you have the whole cultural thing. That's another facet of it, because they're not, I don't believe that it is as an open thing there. They have a harder time with it. They're still beating up people if they find out they're gay, rolling them, as they used to say a long time ago. And it's really, really huge. And being machismo is a big thing in that culture. So
I have a question really quick, though, because I am curious. We did kind of get a final solid answer last night as to why Armando didn't want to try to integrate him and his daughter's lives into the States, right? He said for his daughter not having her mom, he thinks it would be better for her to have her family since she doesn't speak English to kind of, right? Do you agree with that? Or do you feel like he's missing an opportunity for her to have a better life? And I'm just going, this isn't from my opinion. I'm going based off of the two sides I'm hearing, because some people feel like he's robbing his daughter of a better life that she could have. But then some people feel like it's better for his daughter to have and keep those core family values and that culture.
I feel like at this point of her, she's so young. I feel like that it's important because he wants to keep the cultural ties, because family is the number one thing in that culture. Everyone bonds together. They have each other's back. I mean, it's the most important thing in that culture. And she has lost her mother. So her bond is really strong with the aunts and the grandmothers and stuff. They are the surrogate mom. So while she's still young, that is the most important thing to him. Now, as she gets a little bit older and that relationship shows that it has lasted over time, I can see him wanting to go to the United States with her.
Right.
But not right now.
Right. So just give it a little bit of time, and as she gets older, maybe.
Right. I mean, it's a little risky if you think about it.
Okay. And then before we move on, I have a few other callers in the room that I want to bring up too, and I'm going to bring everybody up at the same time. I want to ask you real quick, Jenny and Sumit, do you feel like this is going to work out in the end or no?
I don't, because too much betrayal took place in the beginning. I feel like they're pushing the wild card. I feel like Jenny has caused so much betrayal and disrespected the family that they're always going to be going against the odds.
Right.
And
okay.
pushing the tide.
Dana, stay in the weight room. I'm going to bring you up along with JC Bear, Pearl, Christy, hopefully Lizzie, Gigi from UK. As long as everybody's mics are working, I'm going to bring everybody back up. I'm just going to cover Ariela and Biniam and Tim and Melissa. It's not going to take long, I promise.
Okay.
All right, bring you right back up. And I do want to say, guys, thank you to our moderator today, Jamal. So Jamal is with Shan, and they have a channel called Reality TV Chit Chat Live. It's only right when Jamal is moderating my channel that I give a respectful shout out back, guys. That's how we can, there's room for everybody. We can all grow together. This is YouTube. There's millions of people, billions of people probably watching it. So good luck, guys, and thank you so much for moderating. Let's move on real quick to Tim and Melissa. So this is betrayal, betrayal, betrayal. This is obviously a dissolving relationship, and they might as well give it up. And the only reason I say that is because two wrongs don't make a right. And if Tim cheated on Melissa, and then Melissa said, oh, okay, well, I don't know if we're exclusive anymore, I'm going to go have a intimate relationship with somebody else, that obviously doesn't fix things. Now, she doesn't look remorseful in... He does at this point. He seems like he's pretty beaten up about it, and he's trying to fix things, but she has to come clean. I think that this whole thing, you know, if we don't think Jenny and Sumit's going to work, Tim and Melissa, they're definitely not going to work. Melissa, no disrespect, has that super Kourtney Kardashian kind of monotone, like, okay, vibe where she's not really interested. She seems like now that Tim has betrayed her, she's done. And at the moment that you completely start disrespecting each other, carrying out multiple infidelities, which I know this is supposedly one on each end, but 2 is multiple. Just let it go. Restart. I agree with Melissa's family. You should just let it go. Real quick before I start bringing up our callers back, thank you, Hermione, for the super sticker. I appreciate you. And Ariela and Biniam. Okay, so Ariela and Biniam, we're making progress. We're still in Ethiopia. Ariela hasn't left him high and dry yet, but she got an apartment. She got a decent apartment for what she was expecting. It wasn't necessarily the apartment that she was looking for because her and Biniam, it's just not in the budget, and she doesn't want to ask her family for money. But it was a step up from the cousin's house. We'll say that. Ariela finds out that she has to have her baby a week early, and it's going to be cesarean probably. When she asks about the C-section and if that's a common thing in Ethiopia, they're like, no, not common. That has to be terrifying for Ariela. But again, in the blogs, a lot of people are saying that Ariela had to have known what she had coming her way. She should have researched where she was going to. But guys, respectfully to all of the people who are writing these comments, as a mom giving birth to her first child, and I'm not a mom and I've never given birth, but I would imagine that no matter what, that would still be scary for her. She's just trying to have her kid around her baby's daddy. That's it. It doesn't make it less scary. And then real quick, before I bring up back my callers, I do want to say the whole price up tax that Ariela is not getting, this is another thing that I'm just not understanding. She didn't do her research. You don't understand that cars are more expensive over in Ethiopia. I even knew that, and I've never been to Ethiopia. Let's see.
Oh,
hi, JC.
hey.
How are you?
Oh, my God. I made it in. Happy Canadian Thanksgiving.
Hi. Happy Canadian Thanksgiving.
Yeah. So today I'm off, so I'm able to actually get in at the beginning. Kenny and Armando.
Okay. Kenny and Armando.
Okay. Armando has got to give his family a bit more time to process it. Like, the way it's been presented has been very, very quick. So it's a lot to process that your son is gay. It's a lot to process that he's married and engaged and getting married to an older man. So, and also a foreign. So you're going into a rural part of Mexico. You're going into a very Catholic environment. So you have to really, really allow them to process it. I am kind of surprised at Kenny's outlook, because he's around the same age as me. And I can tell you, in the 80s and 90s, you wouldn't be pushing a baby stroller with your kids with pride flags all over it. Like, right. It's an evolution. And it's only really been 5 years in the US, 15 in Canada, where we've had same-sex marriage. So it's still relatively new.
Right. So then he should maybe tone it down a little bit and respect that maybe in Mexico, in certain parts, they're still going through these, like, evolving. They're still evolving. Let's just say that.
They're still about 30 years behind our cultural norms now when it comes to same-sex marriage and the LGBTQ. Armando really has to be patient with his family, because the way it's presented in the show, it seems very, very quick.
I agree with you. But also I think that's only, but it's because they add so many cast members, so we get these little snippets, and it's really.
Oh, I should be looking here.
No, you're okay, Pearl.
Yeah,
I know you're in the room too. Do you have an opinion on this?
Oh,
hi, Pearl.
Hi, Adam. Hi, JCBR.
Hey.
Are we talking about Kenny and Armando? Yeah.
Yeah, Kenny and Armando.
I actually, for once, saw Kenny's perspective a bit, just because when he said that people look for someone to blame and he didn't want them to blame him, I actually felt what he was saying in that moment, where people might say, oh, it's because of you that our son is gay, or it's because of you that our son has moved away and everything else and taken our granddaughter. And so I did feel it's really hard to just sit there. You don't know what people are staring at you. You can't communicate. So I do feel sorry for him in that sense.
You feel sorry for Kenny.
For Kenny in that sense, but I do agree with everyone else that he needs to be patient. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna bring up
Pearl?
another caller. Oh, go ahead, JC.
No, I'd say, Pearl, I agree with you. But I think Kenny also has to realize that when you're going into another culture and you're like, you have to try and immerse yourself in that culture as well and understand it.
Yeah.
And I think he's been resistant to that as well. So you can't go in guns a-blazing, especially when you're going in under coming from a fellow LGBTQer. You can't go in guns a-blazing. You can win people over in subtle ways and by example, as opposed to coming in guns a-blazing. And I think he's been resistant to that. So,
But can I just say,
go ahead. No, go ahead.
This is the first time that he hasn't been guns a-blazing. Like, we've heard him be so whiny the whole time. Like when they went out to dinner and, about the toilet, about the food, about everything. But this is one time where he just sat down quietly and didn't say anything. So this is probably the first time that I felt sorry for him because he wasn't so whiny about where he was and everything else.
Okay, point taken.
Yeah, that is a fair point. This is the first time where he was kind of a little bit more to the back in the background, kind of keeping quiet, observing, as opposed to just commenting on every single thing that's going on. I'm going to bring up another opinion with us really quick. Hi, Christy.
Hi, I love you, Adam.
Wow, I'll keep you around.
Melissa, I think she is a horrible person. I think Tim needs to go back to the States because he doesn't deserve her. And Yazan, they had people in the comments asking what he meant when he said, my wife has to be Muslim, but you don't have to be Muslim. Like he meant his wife has to be Muslim, but if you don't convert, you won't be my wife.
Yeah, I think that's it.
I don't know like that.
Yeah.
And also, do you think that Benny is using Ari for her parents' money?
Do you know that? I just want to comment on that really quick because I thought his reaction was super annoying in the sense of, and I really don't get annoyed with these things, but I kind of thought it was annoying because when the producers asked him, they're like, whatever, I don't know verbatim, but, do you enjoy or does it bother you when they send things or do you like when her parents send things? He was kind of chuckling like, ha, ha, ha. It's like, step up, man. That's how I feel. I mean, 3 jobs. I think this whole thing is going to turn out to be, I don't know. I know that I think Ariela is trying to do the right thing and stay there with Biniam, but I feel like Biniam working 3 jobs and the dancing thing with his ex-girlfriend being one of them, I feel like somebody's going to get hurt here, but we'll see.
You really think he works 3 jobs and gets $500 a month?
I mean, I don't know what they pay in Ethiopia. Possibly,
that's what he said he makes.
Because
he said he makes $500 a month.
When I was in Thailand, I knew a girl who worked. She had 2 different jobs, and she only made 200 American a month. And I thought that was just, it blew my mind. But that's what she survived off of. So I mean, I have no idea. Potentially.
And I have just one more thing. I don't think that Kenny is being impatient or pushing Armando. I think he is pushing him, but Armando needs to relax and, you know what I mean? And not take everything to heart like he does. He's so sensitive and so soft. And I think Kenny's trying to help him overcome these things. I don't think he's trying to necessarily be a butt about it, but I just think that's his way of helping him get out of his funk.
I do have to say this, though, just to piggyback and kind of play devil's advocate for you, though, because when I met my fiance, I wasn't out to my family or anybody, and I asked if we could please keep this relationship under wraps for a whole year so I could figure my stuff out before I brought it to my family. And there was no pressure there to bring it to my family, or else I would have ran. And it was just because in that moment with me not knowing how my family was going to react, I was more afraid of them than I was of losing that relationship. So I think this is just one it's until you're in it, it's so much anxiety. These are awful situations. JC Bear, do you have anything to say about that?
I agree with you, Christy, to an extent. The problem is that I think for the first time with Armando, he finally, and to Adam's point, it takes a while to finally accept yourself. And when you finally do make that decision and you take that step, you want everything fast. You want everything now. It's like, yes, I'm here. And you have this whole, yes, you must. And you have to give people time to adjust because their perception of who you were has changed. And they have to adjust to you and go, oh, that's just one aspect of you, but you're still basically the same person. And it takes time for parents, siblings, friends to be able to do that. So I do agree with you, but you gotta cut them a little more slack because, again, the way the series is presented, it all seems very fast. So I don't really know how much time like this has actually gone on in the real world.
Right.
I
That's
want to
what I
bring
was
up
going to ask you. How long
Natalie.
were they together?
Natalie said, what really sucks is that in the Mexican culture, it wouldn't have really made a difference when he would have told his parents. I don't know if that's true, but I believe that in some culture, I mean, look at what Yazan's going through in a totally different, obviously, like these are different circumstances, but I think it really does. It's important what culture you're dealing with. Thank you for the super sticker, Natalie.
True, but I think also it's kind of one of those, I guess, stages of acceptance where everybody knows, but they don't talk about it. I mean, if you were in the 70s and 80s coming out, it would be like, yes, we know, but it's okay. That's his friend, or that's his, like, it's not talked about, even though they're aware. I think it's also giving them time to adjust to the info.
Do you think the reason why they were denied to get married, well, in the upcoming episodes, is because he is from Florida and not Mexico?
It could be.
That's why they were denied, because they said, "Oh yes, we have a lot of same-sex marriages, but we have to give you bad news." No.
But you
so
see,
what else could it be?
I did some a quick little Google, and unlike Canada and the United States, where same-sex marriage is across the board, in Mexico, you still have some states that can deny it, where it's not legal, and they're still working on that for same-sex equality rights. So they may be in a state where they have slightly different laws, and then you couple the fact that you're marrying a foreign national, which could also come into it. So there's a couple of different things that could be happening there.
Okay.
I get it.
Okay. Well, Christy, Pearl, JC Bear, I appreciate everybody calling in. I'm going to go ahead and start rotating some callers in just because we're about to go live in 30 minutes on Sherelle's World to recap Potomac. So today's going to be just a little bit shorter. But
well, thanks.
Yeah,
I appreciate finally being
Happy
able
Canadian
to get in.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And thank you for calling in on your day off. That's amazing. We love that.
Yes.
Thank you.
I usually switch over.
All right. Thank you, JC Bear. Christy, I appreciate you calling in because I always love when someone new is calling in. So thank you.
You're welcome. Have a good day.
All right. And Pearl, I always love when you call in.
Oh, I always love calling in, Adam. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
All right, guys. So let's bring up a couple other callers real quick before we go. Hi, Jumi.
Oh. Hi, Adam. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good. So my thing is about Armando and Kenneth.
Yeah.
Very true. In Mexico, they're not as accepting as a people being gay. There are towns that you could live in that they will kill you in a split second as soon as they find out where you're what your relationship is with another person that's the same sex.
Jimmy, where are you right now?
I live in California, but we do know a lot about Mexico because my brother, basically my dad is from Mexico, but my brother is always over there. And yeah, there's a lot of things that go on out there that they just don't accept that at all. So Natalie is not right. I mean, a lot of parents won't accept that. They will disown their child than to admit. And for them, their child will be dead. For them to even admit that they have a child that is gay, they'll kill them. in a heartbeat. There's no ifs, buts about it.
Which is actually, you know what, just to I love to say this word, but just to piggyback off of what you're saying, there are some pockets in America, just to be fair. There are pockets, like small pockets in these, sometimes I went to school in Tennessee. There were some places in Tennessee that weren't as progressive. And, to think that if we have it here, why wouldn't it be somewhere else? And that doesn't make sense. So I think that, we all have to open our eyes and our mind. And I especially think Kenny needs to be more.
Yes, he needs to be more understanding of why Armando doesn't like to do like affection outside of the home. Because like on the first episode when they were like walking down the street, and then Kenneth got mad because he wouldn't hold his arm or, hold his hand or anything like that. But it was because Armando knew. He's like, we're new to this town. These people don't know. We don't know how they're going to react. Which is true. That is one of the points of why Armando was kind of like, no, Kenneth, this, not right now or whatever. But that's just how it is there. We know we had a really good friend that lived here in the States, and then he went and moved to Mexico, and they killed him when they found out he was gay. Oh. They killed him and they hung him, and they chopped his privates.
Oh my gosh.
Because they found out that he was gay.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah. This happened probably about 4 or 5 years ago, but they're not open as people think they are. You got to be very careful if you are in Mexico and you're gay. You got to be very, very careful of the towns that you visit, where you go, who you're with, like just,
all of it.
And I think Armando knows because he's lived there all his life. So he knows how people are and why he tells Kenneth, no. But at the same time, Kenneth just doesn't understand the culture of the people in Mexico. And I think that's something that Kenneth should have looked into prior to moving out there, and he didn't.
I agree.
Kenneth's been out for a long time, so he just thought, hey, why can't I just go and be myself out there? It doesn't work like that.
I agree with what you're saying. So, and also just to go back to what JC Bear said too, was, Kenny had his moment years and years ago where he went through this already, and he's just so past that point in his life. But he should kind of maybe reach back into that bag of where he came from and how it worked out and started out for him, just to be a little bit more sympathetic to where Armando's coming from. That's all.
Right. I agree. Yeah, I agree 100.
Well, Jimmy, I appreciate you calling in. And I know you're not in Canada, but happy Canadian Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Bye, all righty. Love you, Adam.
Wow.
Bye.
Love you, Jimmy. I'm going to keep her around. Okay, so just to help us say goodbye, let's see. I have Gina B and Dana. Hi, Gina.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you, Adam?
I'm good. Thank you for calling. Happy Canadian Thanksgiving, which I did not know, but now I do. So
I didn't know either, but happy Canadian Thanksgiving to everybody.
All right. So which couple should we sound off on?
Kenny and Armando.
Okay. What do you feel?
I'm Mexican, so I understand where Armando was coming from. There are places in Mexico that you do need to be careful. But I don't agree with everything Jumi was saying that they'll be killed.
Okay.
No.
Okay. So you think that was a little bit extreme?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. No, and you know what? That's fair. I welcome all of the opinions and everything, because we all have different perspectives. So you think that Jumi's opinion was a little bit extreme and that they wouldn't necessarily be killed, but would you say that it's fair to say that they could definitely be harmed or put themselves in danger if they display, PDA?
Yeah, I agree with that. There's towns in Mexico that are very close-minded, I would say.
Okay. And then as far as Kenny and Armando, Gina, since we're going on Sherelle's World, and I hope I see you there, do you feel like before we go that they're going to work out or they're not going to work?
I think they're going to work out. I think it's just going to take some time. Kenny needs to back off just a little bit, and Armando just relax.
Okay, that's fair. And then also, I think that Kenny needs to maybe not take too many pages from Tim's book, but at least the one where Tim is, Tim arrives and he can speak Spanish and is at least trying to integrate himself into the culture, into the lifestyle. I feel like Kenny just needs to do a little bit more of that too.
Yeah, I think he was thinking maybe he was going to Cancun or someplace like that.
Yeah. This is not a Carnival cruise line to Mexico, a brochure. This is the real deal. So welcome, Kenny.
Yep.
All right. Gina, I appreciate you calling in. Thank you so much. And I hope I see you on Sherelle's World in 20 minutes, maybe 15.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Bye. All right. And before we go, hi, Dana. Can you help me end this?
Oh, thank you. I'm always happy to be here with you, Adam.
I appreciate you. And Pops loves you too. He was like, oh, Dana, she calls in. And he said, is she calling in on Friday? And I said, Pops, I'm going to be moving on Friday. So I think we're moving it to Sunday. So I'm not sure, but we'll have to ask her.
Oh, he's so sweet.
Yeah. No, right. So how should we end it off? Which couple do you want to end it with?
I'll do two quickly. I think that Armando and Kenny, with some trial and error, can make it. They just have to bridge the gap. Because, I mean, when I think about it, Armando's family, he was married and he had a kid. So they saw one picture of his future. So now that picture has entirely shifted. And they have to wrap their brain around that. But they also are very protective and worried about what does this mean? Not just for him, but for his daughter.
Yeah, because they're going to know too that his daughter is going to grow up in Mexican culture now with two dads. What is that going to mean to, honestly, her mom's family?
Right.
Because you can't disregard them just because, unfortunately, the mom's not here, because that's her grandparents, that's her uncles, her aunts. Like, they're all going to have an opinion about her living in a house with two dads too, just because it's not the norm. And
what's it going to mean for her?
Yeah.
You know, so that being said, I think they have the most chance. Now, Ariela and Biniam, I sort of thought they had a chance in the beginning, but unfortunately, I hate to say it, but I think she's going to end up back in the United States with the baby.
I do too. I think that he's going to get very just used to this, her parents sending over. And she's finally going to look at him like, dude, what are you doing? You disappear all the time for like 18 hours a day. You come back. We still have no money. My parents are still helping. I never see you. I don't know where you're at. I'm going back to the US. I'm calling this.
Because when they said, would it bother you if her parents would take care of a lot of your bills? He
laughed.
And he was like,
that's what I said. That was the most annoying part of this whole thing for me, because I just think it's annoying to watch. And if I were her parents watching that, I would be like, oh, you think it's cute? Watch and see. Our daughter will be back here in a second because we won't be sending anything. I mean, that would just frustrate me, just knowing somebody's like, oh, yeah.
I would be done then.
Yeah.
Because to me, it would be like, you're not invested in this relationship. You're not going to try hard to be a husband and a father. You're just going to use my family.
Yeah. And I don't agree with that.
No.
And maybe we'll find out more of a reason why the first woman with the baby left. Honestly.
Plus the fact.
And I bet you TLC's shady. TLC's so shady. I wouldn't doubt, like, I wouldn't be surprised if they had her call in to the reunion. You know, just because TLC finds like the people all the way down, and this isn't disrespect, but like the people way down in the gutter that nobody would think that they would pull out, and then they do. And those people pop up on the screen and we're like, oh, that's what they look like. And yeah, TLC loves surprising us with those people. So I wouldn't be surprised.
Because you only get a few breadcrumbs as to why she left. And his sisters will say things, well, you're not going to leave with the baby like she did, are you?
Yeah.
And, you know, he may not make a lot of money and it's super expensive to live there. Whereas in Thailand, like your friend or whoever that didn't make a lot of money, the cost of living in Thailand is minuscule as in comparison to where they're living.
Okay, that's fair. Thailand as opposed to Ethiopia.
Yeah, I would have had a coronary if I had to buy that car for that much money.
Oh my gosh, I would never.
So anyway, I don't think any of the couples except Armando and
Kenny are going to work.
Right.
Okay. All right. Well, at least, you know what? I have to say, at least we're back with the other way. We're moved on from happily ever after. We're breaking up the monotony, and we have something to look forward to again.
Thank you, Jesus.
Yes. All right. Dana, don't forget to watch the family Chantel family, whatever. Just don't forget to watch it tonight because I know this is going to be an explosive season. I really skipped past the first season and I'm only excited about this season because of the trailer, but I want to talk about it tomorrow. So don't forget.
Okay.
All right, Dana, I'll see you then.
Safe moving.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
All right, guys, so 40 minutes in, 280 in the room, I believe. So if you haven't already, please like this video. It helps tremendously. You guys are the best. Thank you so much for all the love and support. Thank you to my family for being here and helping me with my move. Thank you again to Jamal for moderating this chat. Thank you to Perlita because I saw your super sticker, and to Hermione because you're always a breath of fresh air. I saw your super stickers too, and to anyone who donates. You guys are the best. I'm going on with Sherelle at 11, and then guys, check out my schedule this week because we have a lot of fun videos coming up and collaborations. It's going to be exciting. I can't wait, and I just got to breathe. Okay. All right. See you then. Bye, guys.